Nah, that was good information, yo. Because I learned a lot. The most common case you see of people using the deployment letter is to get out of rental leases, where you living or whatever. But the whole car lease thing, had no clue.
Same rules apply, baby. And no consumer wants to really fight against a military member, right? Especially when you're about to deploy. What are they going to try to hold that debt over your head? Like, nah. They may scare you with, you got to let us know 90 days. That's cool. They just trying to make their money, but you trying to go protect the United States of America where they sleep at night, right? And I'm guaranteeing if you got the gift of gab, which
some people don't,
which it ain't necessary. But if you got the gift of gab and you go into break down your situation to these consumers, these apartment complexes, these car dealers, they don't want to have to go through the rigmarole of going to your command and talking to your CMC, and because it's all legit. They're gonna see the paperwork, right? Don't make it look like it's predestined for you to do, but like, hey, this is what I found out I could do, and I'm doing it, right? Ain't breaking no laws. Good.
Pimpin', episode 2, Boots in the Bag podcast. Man, episode 1 was fun, man.
Yeah, it was.
It was fun. It was cringeworthy to go back and watch all the little nuances.
Right.
Everything.
Yeah.
But we back, episode 2. We got a couple things we're gonna get into today. Definitely got some current events we want to talk about military wise, and just making sure people staying right with they pay, they money. That's what the bag is about. It's making sure you good financially, mentally, emotionally. So got a couple of things to get into that, and then got some other stuff to talk about too. I think Kareem gonna have some beneficial hacks as well.
Learning how we all been schooled on how to buy a car, but I'm gonna break it down and show you how you can alleviate yourself if you do find yourself in a rut with a high car payment, high interest rate, and say you're about to deploy, right? There's things in place for us to protect ourselves as military members, right? Specifically just for us, and I think it's beneficial for us to utilize that stuff while we can, right? So we'll get into that a little later.
Yeah, man. And I don't know, before we came on, you was like, you know what I mean? You said something pretty. It was about just being in the military and using what's out there for us.
Oh yeah.
But I don't feel bad. Right. All the stuff because I served.
Oh right. I think I was saying the Navy's gonna get hers, right? The Navy is going to get hers.
Fact.
So you might as well get yours, right? While you in. That means going to school, making sure you if you got a side gig, passive income, quals and everything that translate outside, which we'll have in more the future podcast. We'll break all that stuff down. So, but today we're gonna definitely talk about this car thing. It's a gem, and
it's a big gem.
Yeah, only a select few can utilize this program.
The big gem.
Yeah.
Bet. So let's go ahead. Let's get into this, man. Let's talk about this pay increase, which your standard base pay. That's nothing new. We know we get little minute pay increases every year, but this one is significant because it's so big.
It's huge.
Even with it being big at 4.6%, it's still not enough to combat the current inflation.
Dang, he said a word.
It's still not enough to combat. I think current inflation is at 7.7.
That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah.
So we're getting 4.6%. Now, what does that mean, right?
So but whatever your rank is, E4, E5, whatever your current base pay is, you're going to get 4.6% of that as an increase. And we did the math. Junior sailors, that's looking like extra $108 a paycheck. And then senior sailors looking like an extra $208 a paycheck.
It's going to be sweet. Me being in for as long as I've been in, that's going to be sweet. So what does that mean to you as a military member, right? You get a big increase. What they always tell you every time you make rank, pretend like you never had that money. That money is not coming in. Don't increase your lifestyle when your pay increases, right? Don't put yourself in unnecessary debt, right? So I say that to say this. You get that pay increase, you get that extra $200, $300 a month, put that aside, right? You can invest it, put it aside, right? Save it. Pretend like you ain't even getting it. It's going to help you out in the long run, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to help you out in the long run.
Let me, the best thing that works for me that I tell you to do, get you an online only bank account. So it's like Ally, I think Markets by Goldman Sachs, and some other ones. Don't get a debit card attached to it. Don't get a credit card attached to it, and set up an allotment straight to that. You don't see it coming out. Tuck the password and the username away somewhere that you know where it's at whenever you need to check the account. But that's where the money should be going, because when you don't see that money going, you forget about it. Next thing you know, 10 bands, 20 bands, you straight. Got enough money to go get you a house.
Right. Rainy day, funds, all that. Car breaks down, you ain't going to Navy. Marine Relief Corps Society.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong. They're beautiful people. They're the angels of the world, right? Right. So that's good, man. That's looking like they had a median price of $1,300 for the junior sailor and about $2,500 for a senior sailor a year with that pay increase.
Yeah.
So,
now, how you feel about that? Like, why is it that the senior enlisted and the officers they get more?
I just think just paying for the expertise and the knowledge. It's just like any other job, right? The longer you've been there, the more incentives you should be given, because you are the one that's training the release, the people that are coming in, right? So, like, if you don't incentivize that, and also because most of the senior personnel's lives have changed, right? So when you're a junior sailor coming in, brand new, you're normally not attached to a wife, a house, some kids, a dog, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Senior sailors have already established their lives in the military, and rightfully so, right? You know, getting houses, getting the relationships, and so they're just doing that to compensate. So I don't think it's a big issue with that.
What do you think that has an effect on society?
As far as what?
Civilians. So people never been in the military. I mean, I guess you could say ones that even got out too. With us getting pay increases, and stuff like that. Do you think that affects them?
It affects the civilian sector side. Nah, I'm gonna tell you. So the military in itself, well-oiled machine as far as paying okay and having the medical and dental benefits they have, right? So not only are you getting paid substantially, you know, compared to the market rates, right? If you ever doubt it, do your numbers, break it down, right? A lot of people say we're overpaid janitors out there. I challenge you to write down the price of a mechanic doing the same work. So I'm an engineman, right? So if I did my breakdown of my military pay compared to a mechanic, a diesel mechanic in the automotive world, it may look like they're getting paid, you know, that $100K, right? $100,000, right? At my level, that's what I would be making close to, is like, you know, 86, whatever. But then they get taxed crazy.
Crazy
right?
taxes.
I go on deployments. I get money that's not taxed. My BAH and BAS and all that other stuff, like when it comes down to it, I get paid substantially well, right? So then when recessions hit, right, and I'm going to tell you why, it doesn't really affect the civilian market depending on how we get paid, but it helps us through stuff like the recessions, right?
Yeah.
When the recession came in 2007, I didn't feel it. I bought a car that year. Right?
Hey.
I bought a car. My account was, I never missed a pay. They talked about the furloughs and the government shutdowns, those bills and stuff. Like, we didn't really feel it. Everyone who was a Navy Federal member knew that Navy Federal put out a message when the government shut down. They refused to pay federal employees and stuff like that. Our checks kept coming, right? So, not to boast on the military, and you know, but in this one regard, they got it. They do their thing.
They got the upper hand,
right? They do their thing.
And
now, not to cut you off. We could get paid more, right? Compared to what our job
I need more
is required for us to do, right? The amount of hours we spend away from our families, the lives we are forced to build and lead. We should be paid more, but
Way more, bro.
Yeah.
Way more,
Hey,
man.
That's a topic for another podcast show.
Sign this petition so we can get
Yeah, right. For just 10 cents a day.
10 cents. Nah, I mean, but nah, yeah. Nah, I like the way you articulated that, man. And if one thing we really don't think about too, and it's a lot of people who transition from active duty to reserves or they separate completely. One thing you never really feel until you get out is that insurance, that health insurance, that dental insurance. I mean, I'm active reserves. I still have to pay though.
Yeah.
Still got to pay.
Wow. What? Really?
Well, dental, it's like $11.94. I can get the official numbers, but I think it's like $11.94.
Okay.
That's just for me. For my family, it's like $77
a month, or is it just like
a month?
Wow.
A month. And then health, they got all these sophisticated charts telling you your catastrophic cap and all this stuff, the deductibles, all of that stuff, whether you go to somebody inside the network versus somebody outside of the network, all that. So it's stuff like that you never think about.
Wow, man.
That's why.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna possibly retire, God's willing.
Ain't no possibly. He doing the full 20.
Right. I'm already at the 15, so I'm more than almost there. So hopefully I retire and see how that goes. But yeah, man.
You should be going to medical. You going to medical once a week?
Oh yeah. All right. Hey. Yeah, that's a topic for another podcast. Oh man, the stigma around going to medical, boy. Woo! That is a topic for another show.
I think my generation of sailors really changed that.
Oh yeah.
Because
definitely.
You came in what year?
2007.
I came in 2012. And I ain't had no cell phone in boot camp, nothing like that. I think I was like one of the last divisions before they started.
They got boot camp.
I ain't had no cell phone.
They got Facebook, TikTok.
I was still writing letters and stuff. I was waiting on mail call. But my generation, we definitely we changed it because we just not afraid to go. For so long. I mean, even when I joined, you still had a lot of those older sailors been in 19, 20, 25 plus years, and they like, oh, you need to go to medical or malingering, whatever. Now, granted, people do that, unfortunately, but you gotta get this stuff on paper. Yeah, you gotta get it on paper.
Definitely. It'll help you out in the long run, especially when you're filing your VA claims or whatever. But for the most part, just looking after your health, right? I remember stubbing my knee about 111 times on the Enterprise, USS Enterprise, up and down the ladder wells. Swell up like a grapefruit. But I was so fearful of going to medical because, the names they'll call you in the engineering department. We come from a different breed, right? Like, we always wanted to be there for the guys, and we're undermanned as an engineering department. So I put the whole weight of that department.
We undermanned as a Navy.
On my back, right. I put the whole weight of that on my back, and I'm going and stand and watch, and, on this bad knee, I got terrible knees now. But believe you me, I'm going to medical for everything. Everything.
I'm
going to medical for everything.
But yeah, so apart from just the basic base pay increase, they also increase in BAS. If you don't know what that is, basic money for your sustenance, pretty much money for food, right? So,
which is crazy. When did they determine food only is $3.50 a month for one person?
I don't know.
That's wild.
I don't know. They increasing it by 11%.
That's a big increase.
That's a huge increase.
Wow.
Let's see. If I remember correctly,
you got an LES pulled up over there?
My LESs used to be $366 for the BAS. We just gonna keep simple numbers. So you add 11%. 11% of that is $40.26.
Okay. So extra 2 days of meals right there.
So $406.26. That's just calculated at $366. So I might be off by some, or I might be overshooting. But that's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It is. So with all this new money, right, you may feel inclined to go out and buy a chain or a purse or some new boots or a bag or a car, right? First off, utilize the tools you have at your disposal, right? So military offers you a slew of assets to help you financially plan for big purchases, right? You got
Facts.
Navy Marine Relief Corps Society. You got Fleet Family Support. You got your CFC, your Command Financial Specialist. You got your um, who else? Your chain of command, right? You got people who've bought before.
Got military.com.
Military.com,
You got
Military One.
So yeah.
Yeah, man. A lot of things. I've even utilized Military One source myself. Right? Got free consultations. They also help with marriage stuff. Like if you need to have a therapist, they do a slew of things, right? So utilize these things, right? But I'm gonna give you some game, right? So I'm gonna help some folk out, right? If we can jump into the whole car thing, right?
Yeah, but before we jump into that, Fleet and Family that's a gem. Fleet and Family, Military One Source. I mean, the resources is there, and it's free when you're active. That's the biggest thing. It's free. The command we was at before. I mean, just to give you an idea, we was making $186 a day outside of our base pay.
Right.
The base pay was tax free when we deployed, and then if you got family, you get family separation pay. At a certain point, it was hazard duty pay too until they took that away. But I mean, you making all this money, so I had like 4 brand new junior sailors. I'm like, nah, all y'all gotta go to financial classes.
Yeah. The worst thing to do is surplus someone, a regular human being with a whole bunch of money.
Oh,
don't have a plan, right?
That's why all the lottery winners, they go broke in a couple years.
Yeah, do the studies.
It's man, I was about to tap into somewhere else. I was like, just like lottery winners go broke, the women that get the BBLs, they go right back to the normal side. There's no habits. There's no knowledge.
Trained, yeah.
Come on.
Yep. Exactly. All right. So, like we said, free family support, great because they will also budget. They'll do your a financial budget, right? So take your money that you got and see how much you can spend on food and going out, extracurricular activities, and they'll break it all down for you, right?
Yeah.
I highly advise going there. I think it should be a command policy before you go.
Required.
Yeah,
bro.
go see a financial specialist. Just out of house, no bias, no judgment. They'll go sit down with them and they'll break it down for you. Because not everybody really, especially in your Virginia, do you need a car? Not really. If you're especially a junior, say you don't really need it. But anyway,
Hold on. Let me ping on that. Do you need a car? I'm gonna tell you right now. No, you just lazy. Want me to tell you why?
Why?
Yo, this dude Burbank. I never forget.
You name dropping on the.
Yo, I got to name drop him, but it's like I'm giving him props, right? So Burbank showed up to the command when I was at Port Ops. He showed up and he was like, "Yo, I'm not gonna buy a car." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "I'm in a lot of debt. Past situations really messed me over, so I'm in a lot of debt now, and I ain't trying to increase the debt." So you hear somebody say that, it's like whatever. This man, he was like, as soon as I get my bike out of storage, I'm straight. So he dad got his bike, like pedal bike. And he took that everywhere. When the bike was down, he'll run everywhere. I'm not making this up. One day, Burbank was like, yeah, I do fencing in Chesapeake. Mind you, I knew at the time Burbank stayed in the barracks.
On NOB?
No, on Little Creek.
On Little Creek, okay.
He stayed in the barracks. So he'd be like, yeah, I do fencing in Chesapeake. I'm like, oh, bet. How you get there? He like, I take my bike. Woo!
That's a trooper.
Yo,
That
like
is a trooper.
And I mean, like wintertime, he on his bike. He got the one little suit, the keep warm suit, the dry suit.
Oh man.
But I mean, like, yeah. I ain't saying that. Now I know everybody not built like that.
I ain't built like that. I tell you that right now.
But go ahead.
Yeah. Burbank should have listened to one of my methods. He probably wouldn't be in debt. All right. So I call this the lease car hack. Right. I learned this a couple deployments ago. When I was paying for my car. Now, granted, this ain't for everybody, right? I wanted to keep my car for the long term, right? I bought a 2013 Chevy Impala in 2014. It was a great car. I only had one previous owner, and I kept up all the maintenance. So did I. I kept the tradition going of keeping the maintenance on the car going, right? So if you're in a car situation and you plan to keep that car, plus 5 years, 6 years, then by all means keep your car, do your thing, whatever. But this is for people who have jumped into bed with a car dealer and them knowing you in the military, they take advantage of you, right?
Facts.
Now, when you go to a new command, they always tell you before you buy a car, make sure you come talk to one of us, one of the upper chain of commands, right? Because what happens is you go out here by yourself, you go to Little Creek Boulevard, Virginia Beach Boulevard, and what happens is they'll take advantage of you because you're gonna get approved for a loan being in the military.
100%.
You'll always find it. Even if it ain't traditional through Navy Federal or whatever, you're going to get a car loan.
Easy.
Always. As long as you got that money coming in first and the 15th, right? Now your APR is gonna be probably through the roof if your credit's bad. But the car dealers don't care as long as they're making their money. So let's just say you're one of those people. You got swindled. You got into a car situation where you're paying $500-$600 a month for a 7-8-year-old car, right? It's happened, right? This method can allow you to make that disappear, right? And I'm not saying it's magic, but the proof is in the pudding, right? So here's what you're gonna do, right? You got a car. You got your payments is $500, $5 to $7, probably even $800. Right? It's a lot. What you can do, you utilize one of these two benefits to the military: SCRA, Service Member Civil Relief Act, right?
Okay.
Or the Military Lease Clause Addendum, right? The Military Lease Clause Addendum allows you to implement this clause into any lease situation. That goes for apartments, you living in a house, you're leasing on to a car, which we'll talk about, and allows you to terminate that service when you're about to deploy. So that's what we use to our benefit. If we have an apartment that we're into, we have a lease, the lease may say, hey, you have to give us 90 days notice before you terminate this lease. Okay, but what if you get orders to deploy within 30 days, 25 days?
Yeah.
Right? What are they going to do? Hold you in spot and make you wait the 90-day period until you can break the lease? No, because no one wants to be known as a consumer to try to screw over military personnel. They don't want to be known like that. So these two documents, these two applications have legal representation tied to them, right? So if you ever had...
What was that second one?
The Military Lease Clause Addendum. Right, you can attach these to any lease thing. There's on Google. Google it. Talk to your legal representation at your commands, and you can get a hold of this. Right, SCRA is common knowledge. Almost every consumer in the United States knows about the Civil Service Member Relief Act. Right,
not civil service. Service members. Civil Relief Act.
Relief Act. Sorry. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So. What is that? What am I saying, right? So, say if you have this car, right? You're paying an outrageous amount of APR and monthly payments too high.
25% interest rate, $1,100 monthly payment. You only driving a Honda Civic.
Right. So the trick is you're gonna go to a dealer, right? You gotta make sure your credit is good, not great. It ain't gotta be great. It can't be terrible, right? Good. So what does that mean, right? I need you to have at least a 640, right? That is nothing. 640.
That's easy.
You make sure you're there, right? So make sure you got at least a 640. How you can check it? Don't rely heavily on Credit Karma, right?
Why don't they want to rely on Credit Karma?
So Credit Karma is a snapshot of your credit profile. It just gives it's not a total diagnostic breakdown of what your credit's doing, right? And they give you just the basic roundabout of where your credit is, and it's like a 45-day lag, right? So it's not current, right? So you may get a notification on Credit Karma, oh, your credit is a 720.
Yeah.
You go in that dealership and you try to run that junk. You better hope you've been doing good with that 720 from that time that they told you it was 720, because 9 times out of 10 it ain't a 720, right?
Let me ping on that too. Don't forget where you was at, and also about Credit Karma is that. It's showing you a Vantage score, not a FICO.
Not a FICO score.
Yeah, so all these car places, mortgage lenders, they all use FICO scores. Yeah. Credit Karma showing you Vantage, so it's not even that they are inaccurate, but they're just irrelevant to what you need.
Right. So here's my advice. I rely on an app called My FICO. So what excuse me. All right. Right. What my FICO does is it breaks down all the credit profiles that the lenders are going to be looking at. It goes for your mortgages, your cars, your credit cards, your debit cards, your banks. It breaks it all down, right? And you'll get a snapshot. You'll get an up-to-date a look at what your credit is doing with compared to those lenders, right? So when they go run your credit, they're gonna pull those exact scores, right?
Bet.
Right. And those are like 90% accuracy, right? Which is better than the Credit Karma, right? So you want to make sure you go to My FICO. That's an app. They got My FICO. You don't even have to get the full subscription. It's a little expensive if you do the subscription. I think it's like $39 a month, right? But just to know where your credit is, if you're working on it actively, it's good to see exactly where your credit is every month, right? That's what I did when I was getting my house. I wanted to stay up on top of that. Right, so My FICO, make sure you look at your, you want to specifically look at your automobile loans credit score, right? That's going to be what the banks look at when they're approving you for an auto loan. So boom, right? You're going to want to talk to your dealer. You get that good snapshot of your credit, talk to a dealer and talk to them about seeing how much a lease car will run you. Now, why do I say leased, right? Most cars depreciate 40 to 50% in 3 years, right? Lease cars already have a predetermined value, right? When you go sign and you try to purchase a lease car or lease a lease car, right? That value does not matter to you. You're not responsible for that because at the end of your term, you're giving the car back or you're upgrading, right? You have the option to buy it, but typically people walk away from leases. They trade them in and upgrade, right? So the rule of thumb, for bad credit to get financed for a lease, they may give you 80% of the loan. You're required to give the rest of the down payment. For good credit, typically 100% of the loan. That's the 650s and above, right? 640s and above, sorry. Normally they give you 100%. So with me saying that, that's not an end-all be-all, right? Don't just take my word and run for it. Make sure you know your credit profile. Do some digging. Pull your credit report and see what derogatory marks on there. Because you could have a 640 with 100 inquiries. They're probably not going to be privy to lend you any more money, right? So good credit, that's 100% of the loan. Great credit, you get 120% of the loan finance. What does that mean, right? So if I'm looking at a car and it's $35,000 on the lease, right? That's the lease amount. I'm going to give you that plus rebates. You're going to get incentives, right? So if you did have a car you want to trade in on that lease, it'll eat up that negative equity on the car if you have it rolling over. And it's essentially like you're not having that negative equity is gone. All right, so we're talking about the hack though, right? This is going to work for all walks in that realm, right? The bad credit to the great credit. You're coming over with a negative equity on your car. This is the scenario. Coming over with negative equity on the car.
Okay.
You're going to go look at a leased car. The leased car you like, right? Do your numbers. Make sure you can run with it. When they quote you the numbers and they take your car and they break it down, they say, hey, this car has $10,000 of negative equity on it. We're going to roll this into the leased amount, and your payment's going to be $700, $800 a month. Crazy, right? But if you know you're going to deploy and you pull out that military, you show them that clause, that SC, that military lease clause addendum, which is already in the lease, most leases. If it's not, you can attach it to it. You show them the deployment letter, you essentially are wiping away that debt. That negative equity is coupled into the lease, and you walk away from both. You walk away from both of it scot-free. So that whole time, that 6 months, there's no need for you going on deployment and you paying for a car that you're not driving. Right?
Yeah,
no need to go on a deployment and you paying for an apartment you're not living in. Right?
Make sure you got your letter of intent to deploy as well.
You need that deployment letter. That letter of intent. You need that, right?
That's signed and stamped by your skipper, your CEO. So they're gonna want to see that too.
Right. Now, I'm not a legal aid, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not telling you what to do, make sure this works. Nah. Make sure you consult with them, right?
Make sure
but I've seen this work for people. One of my good friends, we went on our 2018 deployment. I didn't know about this, right? He learned from his LS1, right? So she broke it down, was like, hey, you can do this, whatever. We came back and my boy got a Ferrari. Was it the smartest thing to do? Maybe not, but the proof was in the pudding. You know, I seen this done a couple of times. So, you know, go get that lease. You go get that lease car, right? You have to pay on that lease car for at least 3 months, right? But then you send that addendum in, that letter to deploy in, scot free, bundled up,
Easy.
it disappears. Where did it go? I don't know, but yeah. Hopefully that helps a sailor in need out there, a military member in need, right? And also, a little tidbit, right? Younger folk in the military, we talked about buying a car, financing a car, 4 or 5 years. Me personally, if you were like me, I was pretty flashy, right? I shouldn't have, my first cars, I shouldn't have bought outright finance. I should have leased, right? Just because I was always trying to, whatever.
What was your first car?
Oh, my first car. My very first car was a Hyundai. But the next one was an Eddie Bauer Ford Expedition.
Bet. My first one was a Mitsubishi Galant. White, 2009, called my baby Pearl.
Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, so my first one was a Hyundai. Second one was an Audi. It was yeah, but it was some shady stuff with that Audi, man. But,
okay.
Yeah, my next car was a Ford Eddie Bauer Ford.
Why you call it Eddie Bauer?
All right. So that's the addition. So the Eddie Bauer is just air ride.
Yeah,
it was just an addition of Ford Expeditions, more luxurious and stuff.
Bet.
Yeah, man.
Nah, that was good information, yo. Because I learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The most common case you see of people using the deployment letter is to get out of rental leases, where you living or whatever. But the whole car lease thing, had no clue.
Mm-hmm. Same rules apply, baby. And no consumer wants to really fight against a military member, right? Especially when you're about to deploy. What are they going to try to hold that debt over your head? Like, nah. They may scare you with, you got to let us know 90 days. That's cool. They just trying to make their money, but you trying to go protect the United States of America where they sleep at night, right? And I'm guaranteeing if you got the gift of gab, which
some people don't,
which it ain't necessary. But if you got the gift of gab and you go and break down your situation to these consumers, these apartment complexes, these car dealers, they don't want to have to go through the rigmarole of going to your command and talking to your CMC, and because it's all legit. They're gonna see the paperwork, right? Don't make it look like it's predestined for you to do, but like, hey, this is what I found out I could do, and I'm doing it, right? Ain't breaking no laws. Good.
Well, good, man. If y'all really learned something from that, like I said, if I would have did that, because when I first joined and I got to our first command in late 2012, right after the new year, 2013, I went and bought my car, financed it. Like, if I would have knew that, because we was turning around and we was deploying that May. So now I had that car. I had a car payment, paid it off. I did some things. I paid it off. I gave it to my sister. She wrecked it in 6 months. Yeah, man. So now, if I would have knew that, man, that would have been very beneficial.
Yeah, man.
So
me too. Had I known it when I known it back then, I would have. Yeah.
Bet. Anything else?
Nah. We didn't talk about this ASVAB score.
Oh, we gotta dive into these apps because that's it. We in the pages, we in the forums, we in the Facebook groups and everything, and it sent people in an uproar. It really sent people in an uproar. But I think the title of the article was clickbait because they lowering the ASVAB score down. And I think it's just Navy, right? Just the only branch, Navy. They lowering it down to a 10 to open it up to more individuals. But at the end of the day, each job, whether you're a bosun mate or a engineman or whatever, you still have to meet certain requirements. So, right, when you take your ASVAB, and I'm speaking very loosely on this because I don't know exactly what it's called, but they all will give you scores based on different sections.
Yeah.
Right, it'll be like a math section, arithmetic, and some other, like it's like 8 or 9, I want to say, different sections. They'll give you a score on that. Your particular job has to meet the scores on those, not your ASVAB score.
Yep. Correct. So that came that begged, like, we know the military is desperate for new recruits, new blood. Right?
Need to be retaining people.
We saw recently, last 2 months, they were giving these crazy, like, bonuses or sign-on bonuses to new people. Right? They were like, "Oh, 100,000 if you join." I'm like, 100,000. So a lot of these incentives, when we hear, especially a salty dog like me, I get so mad. Like, come on, man. I try not to be, but you can't help it. Like, you giving these new people who ain't really
Then diddly squat.
They not gonna come in and operate. Most of them not gonna come in and operate, and they gonna come and get that money, work their tails off for them 4 years, 5 years, and they gonna be gone. Bro. Like, why not give it to the salty dogs? That's leading. You know what I'm saying? That's wild.
I missed the re-enlistment bonus twice. The first time, they wasn't offering it to BMs. I re-enlisted the next month. They was offering it to BMs. Same.
Remember that month? Remember what month? Was it before?
I don't remember.
This is the rule of thumb. I learned this early.
See, just the knowledge that I was
early.
not privy to.
You wait for that fiscal year thing to come out, that message to come out when they said it's like October is a new start of a fiscal year. Yeah. And there's a message or something that comes out in April. So I never re-enlist in between those months. I do it after because those messages come out.
So you re-enlist between April and September?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, I never.
And then if you're going to deploy, I wait and we'll do it on deployment because if you do get a bonus,
tax free,
right? So, man, always talk.
Money.
One of the things I had to learn later on is be cognizant of instructions.
Free game.
Be cognizant of instructions because they'll try to jam you up. They'll try to jam you up if you don't know what you're talking about, right? I took the Chiefs exam. I was up for Chief. I was told I wasn't eligible, right? Because my time and rate and all that stuff didn't line up. So I told I wasn't eligible. One of my boys was like, "You not taking Chief?" I'm like, "Nah." He's like, "Hey man, you need to check the nav admin because I knew that nav admin came out." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." This December, right? The nav admin dropped November the 31st.
Damn.
And I'm like, okay.
There's no 31st in November.
My bad. The 30th. November 30th. There was like, yeah, the new TIR says if it's this date that you can, and the results come out, you could take the Chief exam. I'm like, oh snap! So I call, and people are like, nah, we don't know what you're talking about, whatever. And I'm like,
you know what the
damn. I had to send the instructions like, oh yeah, well go ahead and route it. But prior to that time though, I didn't do the PMKEs and stuff I was supposed to do, whatever.
Yeah.
So they had to override it. But when they went up, what I'm saying, to get graded, they were like, nah, player, you ain't complete the PMKEs in time, so they ain't grade my test. But anyway, lesson learned. Be on top of your instruction game.
Free game.
Nav admins, all that stuff. My Navy HR, great place to start.
I'm going to tell you right now, man. I don't care if you're doing 3 years, 4 years, 10, 15. You need to be well-rounded.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You need to know instructions. And I'm not saying know them so you could flaunt them in a chief or a senior chief face whenever the time is there. But I'm just saying you need to make sure you taking care of your business. Mm-hmm. That go back to what you said last episode, man. Make sure everything you doing is good. That way you keep people off your back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's the rule we live by in this house, right? You don't want me talking to you, getting in your ear, because I'm going to be on you. Right? I'm going to be on you. Right? Just do what you got to do. So you good for you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Take us out, man.
Yeah, man. Well, we had a good discussion. I hope y'all took away some good notes, stuff to help you, get through this journey we call life, especially as military members. The times are rough out here, right? So we got your back, right? One-stop shop for all your military/financial needs, right? We'll be coming to you with another episode. Stay tuned for episode 3, all right?
Stay tuned, man.
It's your boy Ill
Man,
Will.
and comment. We trying to get some successful veterans, successful active duty outside of like military, outside of Air Force, Marines, Navy, Army. Like, what if y'all know some successful veterans? Tag them, put them down in the comment sections. We trying to get them in here. We want to see how they transition good, or how are they managing being active duty and running businesses, or whatever the case.
Yeah. And if you got some intel, you got some info that you think a lot of military people don't know, it would be good for the group. It'd be good for the squad, good for the listeners, man. Link with us, man. You can link in the comment. We'll link up with you, and we'll get you on the show. Right?
Make it happen.
Yeah, facts.
We out.
All right, we out. Peace.